the recording, and so you all heard the meetings being recorded. So the meeting's called to order at 7:06, and I'm going to have too much open. Do my best to find the agenda. I think I have found it, and share the screen with it. Who did, where? Okay, we have to unshare the screen. Crap. I'm sharing the wrong thing. So trying that again. All right, I apologize, as we always say.
Do you need some help?
No, I got it. It was somehow I clicked on two things at once. And here we go. Can you all see the screen? I know that I'm going to have to scroll through this, but I've got, can you see that the agenda is up?
Yes.
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 Okay. So so only Greg, Nancy, and Laura vote, but we're going to go through the agenda. First thing will be public comments, then executive committee business of funding requests, the contract renewal for our website maintenance services. Greg will do some status updates on the funding items we approved at the end of last fiscal year, just to update us on their status. A discussion of the governing board retreat, review and approve the agenda and the presentations, and I think by topic, not by reviewing the presentations themselves. The next board meeting, which would be the August 5 board agenda items. If we have time, get to the inventory report. If we have time, I hope we do, get to the member revisions to the member handbook, because I think there is some updated material, board member trainings, committee reports, if any. I have no minutes, so we will not be reviewing minutes. Treasurer's report, old business, and adjourn. Okay, so that is the agenda. Is there any comment, or do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
And Nancy, would you be able to second?
Yes, I can second. I second.
Okay, and then so it's been moved and seconded to approve this agenda. Greg, your vote?
Yes.
Nancy, your vote? And I vote yes.
Yes.
So I am going to stop the share and ask if there are any public comments on any item which is not on this agenda for tonight. And I should say, please raise your hand if you, and we try to use the virtual hand function. So if you're somewhat new to Zoom, how you find that is on the black screen. If you take your cursor down to the word participants and click on that, you'll bring up a column that shows you everybody who's in the room, but also at the bottom of that column, you'll see something that says raise hand. So that will raise a blue hand. So are there any public comments? Sandra, and I'm going to turn off my video for the 1 minute or two that you're speaking, because my coworker is summoning me. So I'm going to walk off to the side while Sandra speaks. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sandra.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sandra Poor from Jefferson Park. And it's been brought to my attention, we've talked about this a while in the community, but Jefferson Park starts on the, what is that, the north side? No, the south side of Adams. And it goes all the way down Arlington to Exposition and over and up to Crenshaw, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, the filming that has been done at, what's the church up there? Holman Methodist Church, all of the filming and the fees that have been raised in actuality belong to Jefferson Park. And the school that's over there that the community was so upset about the math and science was also in our jurisdiction. So I would like to know going forward, how can we untangle Jefferson Park from, I don't know if it's West Adams or the neighborhood group over there, because we could very well have used those funds. You know, our businesses on Jefferson would like to be revamped. A lot of people have come and gone, but we have been working for a very long time, some people in the community, to have the Jefferson Boulevard renovated, brought up, you know, to standards, to entice and have businesses be more interested in our boulevard rather than it just being a pass through. So that is the question for probably Laura, I guess one of the oldest.
Laura's here, but as you know, we can't answer questions in public.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna put it out there and let's put it on the agenda for further discussion so we can figure out how to do that going forward.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Me saying okay doesn't mean I'm saying okay. It means yes, we'll have try to have an agendized discussion.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on items not on tonight's agenda? Okay, so the next item is actually Sandra again. We have a funding request from Sons Matter. I hope I got that spelling right, which is a nonprofit 501c3 organization based in Jefferson Park, and requesting $500 to help support the National Night Out Movies in the Park at the Leslie Shaw Park. And I do have the written funding request, which I could post, but Sandra, do you want to introduce this?
Okay, every year, excluding last year, National Night happens throughout the nation, an event to bring the community and the LAPD together. This year, since I was so excited about us being able to be outside and the need for our community, I feel with all the new people moving in and us not being able to really connect through other meetings, it would be a great way for us to come together as a community with the LAPD and our neighbors. I have given the wrong date though. It's actually, I've been told, they corrected the date on me. It's August the 3rd.
Wait. Okay, so this is not an event funding request. This is luckily, it is a NPG, which is a neighborhood purpose grant. So it'd be, if we were to say yes, it'd be a donation to the organization.
Right.
So, although that is a quickly coming date. Greg, have you looked at it? What should I do? Should I post it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it on my screen, but yeah, Sandra should continue and then we should.
Well, I can share it.
Yeah, sure, please.
Oops, I shared it in a large, no, I didn't.
That's large.
It is large. I'm trying to figure out why it's so large.
Up there you have 63.4%. Maybe if you can change that in the header.
Okay, yeah. Can you guys see that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, but essentially it's what Sandra says, National Night Out, Movies in the Park. It's a night or a time to bring the community and police together for a family-friendly event to be held in Leslie Shaw Park. And now I would like, Greg, you're the treasurer, so I'd like some commentary one way or the other here.
I have thoughts and questions. But
yeah, thoughts and questions are cool.
I don't think Sandra's finished.
I'm pretty much finished. Yeah, okay. This is just, part of me being active in the neighborhood for all the years, not being on the board anymore, but still feeling the need for our community to have relationships so we can learn to get to know each other. I, as a preschool teacher and a daycare provider, know that family-friendly events bring people together, and we can see that we have more in common than not. And that's the purpose for it. And also, we've had a change in administration with our new councilman, Mark Willie Thomas. We haven't had a chance to really get together with him. We also have a new senior lead officer, as well as a captain. So all of these changes that have happened, I thought it would be a great time to bring us together for a great evening in the park.
Okay, so I have a question.
Go ahead, Greg.
Okay, Sandra, I also know that at the Olympic Station, they're doing an event on that same night at the Olympic Station. So I'm wondering, is it best to do this on the same night that they're doing their event, or to schedule this for another night?
Well,
So
the
that's
purpose
not-
of it, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So because they're doing something for the same purpose on the same day. So we will have two competing events for that same area. Then I have another question related to that.
Okay, add the other question on too. We can answer them both, please.
Okay, and then the other thing is that when we have the request for the $500, then we would just like for you to present like the list of what's going to be bought, and so that we can have that in the report. And then once the event is done, then for you or whoever participated in the event or presented the event or conducted the event can come back and give us a report of these are things that we said that we we're going to buy. These are things that we actually bought, and the receipts and all that good stuff. And this is the outcome of the event. So it's like an after action report.
Okay.
A beginning, just an itemized list of what you plan on buying. We know you won't have that down to the penny, but then afterwards, the receipts as part of the after action report.
Okay, definitely. The reason it's a national event, right? So
Yes.
nationally, there will be several events happening in several cities all at the same time. It's
Right.
important for each area to become acquainted, familiar with their community leaders as well as the police. So the importance of having it on the same night is for the unison of all the communities, because it's a national event.
Right. I've been raising my own hand to call on me. I don't see any other blue hands yet. So yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Greg. There's likely also to be a Marco Flores will have something over in Adams Normandy. I mean, there's going to be in Koreatown an event that is actually the purpose, that all of the different both community groups and police stations tend to have an event that day or night. Sometimes it's people marching through the streets. That's really how it started. But Sandra's correct. For a couple of years, but not last year because of COVID, the Jefferson Park community gathered in the park and did an event, did National Night Out. My bigger concern with the actual application is that I would rather it not specify that it's passing food and snacks out at an event, but rather that it be an application for the organization, so the organization can support National Night Out in whatever manner it wishes. That'd be my preference, but that's me alone. Lizzie.
Yes. Sandra, so just wanted to let you know, as even though we are not going to be organizing this event as in past years, you can count on our support as chair of the outreach committee. I will be sure to promote the event and to call for volunteers, especially our board members, to be there and support this very important activity. So, and also as a Jefferson Park rep. So just to let you know that even though we are not organizing it, then we will try to be there.
Well, I would like to say that you guys are co-sponsoring it, because I feel that anything that happens in Jefferson Park or any area, but Jefferson Park is where I stay, that I would always ask for support from UNNC.
Right.
Even like you could put the tents up and, be at the table as been done in the past. It's, I'm just, doing it through my nonprofit because I need to get my nonprofit out there. And, I created that nonprofit because of my son's murder. but I'm always looking for support, always from my Jefferson reps and UNNC.
Dolores.
This is a question for Greg. You mentioned listing the food that would be served. If she listed the food, would we not run into a problem with Dunn about, as we have in the past,
Exactly.
food
Well-
and having them having certificates and this, that, and the other?
Well, yes, you are correct. My general concern is that I just want to account for the money. I know that in the past, we just said we're giving money and to put a tent up. But I guess I'm just being very, very anal about where do we spend $5 at? So, I mean, I'm just like,
Well,
where
I
the money go?
can understand that. That's your job. Your
Yeah.
fiduciary
So yes, you're correct.
And there's nothing wrong with Sandra and the organization submitting receipts. I'm just concerned about listing it on that form that's
Right.
going to go to Dunn, that's going to raise a bunch of questions.
Right.
And
Right.
also my concern is I guess I'm very hypersensitive about this because I know we've given money to other organizations and I'm like, well, what did you do? And they didn't, I'm just show me the receipts. That's
We get it.
yeah.
We get it.
Yeah. But you are correct.
Right.
You're correct.
So, Greg, I do have a question.
Yes.
If we do it as an NPG,
Yes.
then do we need the receipts? And I don't know the answer. I'm not
Well,
challenging you. I'm
well-
trying to find out what they want to see.
They or our
Says city
accountability.
Well,
No,
us in our
for-
in our protocols and city clerk in theirs, two different.
Okay, for the event, sponsoring event, it is best for us to just say we're making a donation to the organization for putting up the tent. That's how we work with the bureaucracy of the city and not had them saying, what's this package and vendors and all that stuff. So that is true. But I'm saying for when the event, I want to stress that when the event is over, if we gave $500, then it's good for us to know what the money was spent on. Because we're supporting the organization. I'm just stressing that I want to know where the money was spent so I can account for it. But I withdraw the request to have the detailed list in the beginning, but I still want to request for receipts at the end so we can know that our money is being spent properly.
Yeah.
So, Dolores,
sense?
are you done because your hand's still up? Or not?
But
And,
I'm done.
okay, thank you. Sandra?
Okay, let me raise my hand again.
Okay, I want to hear what else Greg was thinking because
So
Okay.
if this is the case, then we need to modify the request, as
Correct.
Laura pointed out. So I could do like the date, you change the date. And so we can modify the request and take the food stuff off and just say that we're going to have UNNC
Right.
have a tent there to advertise and support the organization. So I
Yeah,
could do that tomorrow and send it to Sandra
Right.
for signature. Will that work?
Yeah, so
Well, Sandra can do it.
I do have a question though. The event is on the 3rd.
Third.
Yes, I understand that. And if we're just making a donation to a nonprofit organization for its ongoing efforts to support Night Out on Crime and other outreach efforts with the Jefferson Park community related to Leslie Shaw Park or something broader like that. But the question is, Sandra, are you able to implement what you need if you knew you were gonna get the money, but you didn't yet have the money? So that'd be one question. And my question for fellow board members is, meaning Nancy and Greg in particular, if we wanted to move this forward on a speed path, are we able to vote on it on Saturday at the retreat / governing board meeting to give half a chance to get some money out? And I don't know that the answer is yes. The answer to that might also be no, because it's certainly not the real purpose of that meeting. So for Greg, the question is, can we do a broad thing? For Sandra, the question is if you get the money later, is it going to kill the event? And for Nancy and Greg, what do you think? Or Nancy in particular, who's in charge of the retreat, of voting on the 24th rather than August 5th? So you can answer that in any order you want.
Nancy first. Ladies first.
We're already at 3 hours. I mean, we're already at 3 hours and a half for the retreat. I don't know where we would be able to fit the request.
Okay,
I think it just really depends. Is this going to kill the event?
right. So Sandra,
Okay,
you heard what Nancy just said.
okay.
I have a suggestion.
Oh, Greg,
Yes.
what do you have?
Well, my thing is that if we do our best to give the Cliff Note version of this, like this event is happening on the 3rd. They're asking for $500 to do this. This is a safety community issue. We want to approve $500, but we need to do it now. And that's it. We don't go into a long detail about the history and we just make it a 2-minute presentation. And that's it.
Greg,
But
I think people will have questions.
Yeah, I know. Yes, we will.
They'll just have questions. They'll want to learn more. Like, and it's
Yes.
good that they have those questions.
It is. Yes, that's true too. Yes.
Okay, Lizzie, you have your hand up.
Just for information, Sandra, what time is the
Oh,
event starting?
shoot.
Okay, it's gonna start at 6. I have asked Councilman Mark Willie Thomas to be there. So he's from 6 to about 7:45, entertainment, and he'll speak right before the movie starts. The movie will start at 8. That's when the sun goes down. So from 8 until 10. So the whole event will be from 6 until 10 p.m. 6
And do
p.m.
you
to 10.
have, do you tentatively have a title for the movie?
Yes, it's Trolls World Tour.
Okay.
Trolls.
All right.
I will have a flyer possibly by tomorrow. I can get it out to Laura, and then hopefully she can do a UNNC announcement or something, and I can use
Thank
that.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we can, Senator, there's no issue with us doing support outreach. I mean, by support, I mean unfunded support and getting people out. The issue is how to get money to you if the board were to vote yes to get money to you. And then the other issue is when can the board vote, whether it be yes or no? And I'm hearing Nancy's concerns very strongly. And Lizzie, your hand is still up. So again, I never know if, I can take it down. Just never know if you wanted to.
That's fine. It's a
Okay.
word.
All right. So
I have a question.
sure, Paula.
Isn't there a way you can amend this now?
Yeah.
It's just the 3 of you make the motion
Yeah, no, that part's
and vote
easy.
on it tonight?
No, we can't approve
Okay.
funds. I mean,
We
the
can't- no,
board
we
has
can't.
to approve the actual
Yes.
funds.
Oh,
What
Right.
about,
So the question, I mean, in other words, I hear Nancy's concern because the agenda for the retreat is very packed. And I appreciate that. And you guys have been, because you're on that committee, working very hard, creating a perfect agenda as best you can. So I hear Nancy's concern, but on the other hand, I'm sort of feeling like our bigger concern should be that of the community, maybe. Greg?
okay, on the question of doing the broad package, I think by that you mean, can we just say we're putting up a tent by the food thing, right? Is that what you meant by that?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
When
Sorry.
you say, can we make it a broad package? You're just saying, instead of listing, we're providing food, just say that UNNC is making a donation because we're putting up one of our tents there, correct? Is that what you mean by that?
Well, again, I was having a little trouble hearing you, so I will say I will say again what I mean, or
Okay.
words I had said, which is because it's typical of an NPG that we donate funds to an organization for its broader purpose, right? So
Right,
if the
right.
broader purpose is to support its activities with the annual Night Out on Crime and the outreach to the community to bring the community together in Leslie Shaw Park, sort of really broad. It's not an event we're supporting because it's annual anyway. So, but if Sandra can't complete her mission without that extra $500, and we don't vote on this until 2 days after the event, and then it also takes additional time to get her the money. I mean, that's my other concern. I'm not even sure if we voted on Saturday that she would get the money on time. Lizzie, you have your hand up again.
Yes, I'm sorry, but given that the timing is really working against us, Sandra, would you consider postponing the event?
Unfortunately,
Or 1 month, because we're trying really hard to make it work, but the timing is not
right. Well,
is not collaborating with us. So I think if we have that extra month, we could have the time to actually prove it, you know.
yeah, we don't need an extra month, Lizzie. It's just we have a meeting. We have our board meeting on August 5. I mean, in other words, what would be terrific, but it's not, I don't have the money, is somebody to lend her the money to cover it and then get paid back later. But I can't.
No,
Not a reimbursement, just a kind of neighbor to neighbor thing. But, you know, but my point is, I can't do that personally because I don't have the money. And you know, I mean, I don't know what to say. There's half a chance if we vote on it this week, if we're even voting to move it forward, that's another question. Half a chance, not a whole chance, that you would have the money in time for the event, because the clerk doesn't move very quickly anyway. So Greg has his hand up, Dolores has her hand up, and I feel Dolores managed to do that first because she's higher in the line. So Dolores.
Okay.
I think this is a community event.
Mhm.
And UNNC is supposed to be about supporting the community and our stakeholders. And I think that we should take every opportunity that we can to squeeze it in on the agenda. I don't think that she, as a stakeholder, should borrow the money, because we ran into that problem once before with Sylvia Lacey.
Yes, she
when
did.
she put the money up front and then Dunn refused to reimburse her, and we had a whole problem with that. So
Right.
I don't think that that should be put upon the stakeholder to do that, taking the chance that she would get her money back. I think that it should be squeezed into the agenda and voted on at the retreat.
Okay. So I'm hearing you loud and clear. Greg, you're next. And then I think we have many other items on this agenda, so we need to.
Yes. Well, the way the trains work, even if we voted on this on Saturday, she's not going to receive the money by the 3rd, because it just doesn't work that fast.
But that would be done. It wouldn't be on us not doing what we were supposed to as a neighborhood council.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with that. But I just want to state that if the organization needed the money by the 2nd to do whatever they want to do, it's not going to happen. There won't be a check in pocket by the 2nd or the 3rd. That's
So-
just the fact.
And then Greg, what about training? Have
What about
the
it?
new members, are they even trained to vote?
No, none of that stuff is
Not
done.
completely.
No.
Yeah,
No.
whole separate issue, but it's a real one.
Yes. So, yeah, so the logistics of it is that the money will not be in hand of the organization on the 2nd or the 3rd.
Yeah, well, okay, but I think what I'm hearing Dolores say is we should do, and maybe Lizzie too, we should do our best to do what we can and then hope for the best at the other end. So,
And I appreciate that. And then what I can do is allocate that money to go to somebody who can wait. You know, it's about
Right.
building relationships with the people that we work with, whether it's the done people or this. It's about building relationships. So when we have stuff, it's not always just run one way. So I can always let him know, the DJ, because I need to have a really nice sound system if Mark really is going to be out there speaking. I'll just arrange for him to wait.
Move.
And, you know, everything should go well. I mean, we're
Right.
doing the best we can. I appreciate all the support, and everything else is left up to God.
so,
So you're saying,
Greg, I will point out that the clerk sometimes is faster than we think the clerk is going to be. But it is about a 10 to 13 day time period between Greg's submitting something and them issuing a check. I just took a look in our portal at some of the easily approved NPGs we did this year as opposed to the ones that weren't easy to approve. And it looks like, you know, from moment of voting at a board meeting to it being approved and check issued looks to be 10 to 13 days on the easy ones. This would come under the category of an easy one, but that does say the expectation that you could potentially get a check the 2nd of August would be slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the sooner we vote on it, the sooner a check could be issued. So I think what we really need to decide, Greg and Nancy, because we're the only voters, is one, are we moving this forward with Greg helping Sandra just revise the MPG application? And two, well, that's the only thing we're voting on right now because we have a later agenda item about the retreat agenda. So the only thing we'd be voting on in this moment is whether we're moving this on with a positive motion.
I want to
Greg.
I want to make a motion that we move this request for $500 forward.
500. Did you just say 5,000? Because I can't hear you.
No, I said
Yeah.
500.
He did not say that. He definitely
I said
did say that.
500.
she'll really be
500.
delayed in getting there.
Baby.
500. Decimal 00. 500.
Okay, so your I'm sorry, I'm going to motion recommend approval of $500 NPG to Sons Matter. Greg moves. Is that correct? What I just
That's correct.
typed?
That's correct.
Okay. It's either Nancy or Laura who must second.
Don't fight over it.
I'm just gonna make it Laura second. Okay. And the only voters are Laura, Nancy, and Greg. So Greg, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nancy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes? And Laura's voting yes. Motion passes. Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
See you on the 5th, right?
Well, we'll see. We're gonna see. We have a later item on this agenda approving the retreat agenda. So we'll have,
Okay.
sadly, we're gonna have part of this discussion like when to vote. So I'll let you know, Sandra.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye-bye.
Contract renewal. So essentially, once a year now, we are needing to do a new contract with our web
Hands up.
provider, which is Ann Zumwinkle. And
What is that
Zumwinkle-
noise?
Yeah, Greg, can you
I'm
mute?
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
so
can you guys
sorry.
mute? Everybody go on mute, please. Thank
It's our
you.
mascot.
Well, the mascot's being noisy. So, I have shared the screen. See, I missed that noise because now I don't know if anyone can even hear me either. I've shared the screen. So on our agenda item about approving a scope of work with the same rate same terms, same rate, same hours, and same services, same scope of work. That would be what I'm showing you on the screen. And this basically is the same scope of work and everything that we approved a year ago. And I will say with one edit, and what the edit is that I did, and if you don't want it edited, that's fine. But if you see where my cursor is just flashing after the word meetings, so it's one of the tasks being prepare as needed the digital advance agenda packets sites in support of the UNNC governing board and committee meetings. The last year's scope of work said, as long as the COVID emergency continues. It turns out that actually, if you even just read the Brown Act, it's a good practice to have these digital online advance agenda packets, whether or not we're meeting virtually, meaning ongoing, because the Brown Act does require that in order to distribute materials to board members in advance, they need to be available to the public in advance of that distribution. So I think this thing we started doing in COVID will continue. So I just deleted the phrase until the emergency ends. So, so Greg, is there any reason why we wouldn't be doing this? We were told by the city clerk we need to reapprove it. But Greg, is there any? Now you're mute because of the dog.
Hold on, let me take her toy away. Okay. No, yeah, let's move forward with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we budgeted and everything.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay.
Right, thousand amount.
And Teresa has her hand up. Do I need to keep this shared?
No, I just have a quick question for clarification. When a contract is over $5,000, that is when we have to submit it for the city to approve?
That's anytime we give a MPG or a community improvement project, if it's over 5,000, the city has to create a contract. This is a different circumstance. It's a vendor, and any vendor also, if it's an ongoing vendor relationship, there's also a contract.
And we already have that in place because we've used this person
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's a whole long thing. There's a long contract. And this is, the scope of work is one of the amendments to the city standard contract. So, any other questions, comments? Okay, so I'm going to move to recommend renewal of the web services contract, same terms, moved by Laura in the chat. And is there a second? Greg seconds.
Nancy seconds.
Nancy seconds because she's not muted. Okay. So now we vote. Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Laura's a yes. Okay, thank you. Next item. Greg, I hope your dog is a little bit quiet because the next item is all those status updates. We have
No,
five pending
she will not
funding
be
items.
quiet. This is
Okay.
her toy.
Got it.
Okay, so we have on the agenda the projects that are still open. And so I had a conversation with our budget advisor, and I had a conversation with our budget advisor, and the gist of it is that everything that we can do on our end and everything that the vendors can do is already done. Her statement was that due to these items being submitted at the end of the year and they had to focus on budget reconciliation, and due to the fact that some of the contracts were over $5,000, excuse me. were over $5,000, there was delay. But the delay is at the city level for them reviewing their items, and we have done everything that we need to do. So the short version of this is there's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that the vendors need to do. There's nothing that the people that are requesting the funds need to do. Everything is at the city, and she gave me her word that everything is moving along just fine. So
Okay.
that's the short version, but that is the version. That was the conversation that we had. You know, and I said, well, is there anything that we need to do? You know, but you know, there's nothing that we need to do on any of these.
So did she indicate anything like we would have already told you if any of these are rejected?
She said that everything is fine,
Okay.
everything is in place, and they're just doing their review and processing.
All right.
So just their processing because of the delay in the price. So
Okay.
there's no indication of trouble is around the corner or any surprises.
Right.
There was no sense of alarm or no sense of there is a problem pending, because we did go back and forth several times and contact people and request documents. So that work has been done, but it's due to the fact that these requests went in at the end of the year. And so, yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Shall we move on? Okay. So the next item is essentially a discussion of the retreat and an approval of its agenda. So I think we should just start with Nancy telling us a little bit, or Paula, about, well, I don't know. How do you want, Nancy, do you want to introduce this? I have the agenda to share for the draft agenda.
Okay.
And what I do need to inform everybody is we have to decide tonight what's in and what's not on that agenda, if anything is changing, because it needs to be submitted by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And since I won't be at work at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I have to finalize it to submit it tonight for Brown Act purposes. So Nancy.
Okay. Okay. Laura, do you want to share it? I'm on my phone. So
Yeah, no, I can share it. Did you want to introduce anything before I share, or should I just immediately share it?
you can share it as I talk. So we decided at the end of the last fiscal year to host to host a retreat for the governing board. And it was really for a few purposes. The first one is for us to get to know one another. I think, we're all operating through virtual meetings, and we haven't been able to meet in person. And so we wanted really to provide a social environment for everyone, especially, to start off the year so that we work together. The other reason was, I think as new members have joined over the last year, and I think a few of the new members that were elected, it's their first time serving on the board. We wanted to give some background regarding our governing documents. Although they're posted on the website, I don't know that everyone has necessarily taken the time to read them. And so we wanted to use the retreat as a way to provide an overview of what the governing documents say. So that was reason number 2. And then number 3 was really, or 3 and 4 were, we have to install the new members that were recently elected, and 4, we have to elect officers. So that's really the purpose of the agenda of the retreat, and it's an additional meeting. We already had a meeting at the end of June, so this is one more meeting that members have agreed to come and join in July, or next weekend, this coming weekend. So I think you'll see in the agenda We tried to do breakout rooms. We wanted to create smaller environments for people to get to know one another, but that's not permitted under the Brown Act. So you'll see throughout the agenda that we have what's called member spotlight. And so that's really going to be the mechanism that we're using for people to get to know each other. We're going to pick 4 to 5 members during each spotlight to do an icebreaker so that the rest of the group gets to know each other. In terms of the governing documents, you'll see that we have 2 presentations. The first one is on the bylaws and the standing rules. And then the second one is on Robert's Rules of Orders. So for Robert's Rules of Orders, you know, it's not something we can really simplify in a 10-minute presentation, but John has alerted us to this new webinar that they have on Robert's Rules. So what we plan to do is show a small clip of a YouTube video by the same provider, and then guide all the members, really refer them to the website that John has created and to that webinar. And then I think 3 and 4, you know, we've inputted time to install officers and what's it called, to elect officers, to install the new members and to elect the officers. And then I think the other presentation that we have is around the brand. So at the end of the last fiscal year, the communications team sent out a survey both to old and new members, asking them their thoughts around the brand. So they're going to do a presentation on what's on the survey results.
Okay. Anything else, Nancy? I know you can't.
That's all I have.
I mean, you obviously, you know, you know what the agenda is because you wrote it, right?
Yes. So that's all I have.
Okay.
Unless you think I'm missing something.
No, I don't think so. The only, you know, I had responded to you when I first saw this to just say I feel that we have to install it's not just the new members. We actually have to install everyone who was elected, but it doesn't take a different amount of time. But all 12 people, either brand new or re-elected, are installed, and there's this little ceremonial oath they have to take. I think we probably have to do that before we do much of anything. And so rather than within the retreat, but we have to do it either right before or right after public comments. And Dolores could probably weigh in on that. I mean, in other words, I don't know if we can even do public comments before we do that. And Dolores has her hand up. And then obviously we now need to discuss how and then if yes, how we insert that MPG. Dolores has her hand up.
Is there a reason that the election of officers is separated from the installation of the new board members?
Do you want me to answer that?
We did that because we want. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
No, go ahead. You're doing fine.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that we did that is so that people vote for the officers once they know each other, right? Because if we do it right at the beginning, not everyone knows each other, and so we're hoping to address some of that by going through some of the member spotlights and maybe you know, through the Q&A of the presentations ahead of that, people will get to know each other.
How does the member spotlight work?
So there's going to be 5 members. They're going to be chosen at random, and they're just going to go through an icebreaker. We're still trying to figure out the logistics of that. We're either going to give everyone a list of questions to choose from, or we're just going to use the same question. We're still figuring that out.
Lizzie, is that your hand up?
I don't think so. Is
Oh,
it?
well, physically your hand's up in the air.
No, I was
Oh,
leaning on my
Leaning.
cabinet.
Oh.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that, yes, as the board, or as the members answer the questions and we get to know a little bit about them, that's going to really help. I mean, like, well, we haven't really decided on the questions, but one that I had was, you know, what is the most heroic thing you've ever done? So yeah, we have to figure out if everybody's going to get the same question to answer, or if there'll be a list that they pick. That is something that's going to help us know a little bit more about each person.
Okay, so
Thank you.
thank you. I'm trying to keep this screen up and I can't see hands raised just as easily. But are there any other hands raised before I ask another question? Somebody has to tell me the answer to my question.
I don't
No hands
know
raised.
that you need to leave the screen up.
Thank you. So Paula and Nancy, I'm wondering, I mean, in other words, it feels to me that we should either let everybody have a minute or a minute and a half to spotlight themselves or not. I don't know that spotlighting a few members is fair to somebody else who doesn't get spotlighted, for example. I mean, I don't know how you do it in a short.
No, everyone will get spotlighted. It's just that we broke it up in groups of 4 so that it doesn't take 30 minutes. It's like 5-minute increments.
Got it. I thought, because it sounded like it was going to be 1 here, 1 there, but you're saying a group of 4 here and a group of 4 there. So everybody gets it.
Yeah.
Got it. Perfect.
So that every member gets spotlighted. Only members, right? Not the public, but the members.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Greg, you're muted though.
You
Okay, so
can
this
stop
is what,
share.
I'll stop the share. I can bring this back up when we're taking an action.
Okay, so this is what I understand. The branding presentation is a summary of those questions that we had answered in the last couple of months, and so presentation of that. And then I also see the benefit of installing the new members at the beginning and then waiting to the end to install the new officers, because once we highlight the new members, we get to know each other and we get to know how we feel people would fit in the different positions. So I see the benefit of that. My only concern about electing the officers at the end is that it does not follow the rules of starting the new year. Like, are the new officers supposed to take over at the beginning of this meeting because we're in a new year?
I'm going to answer that. The bylaws don't actually say that. They just say you have to elect the officers as soon, at the first meeting after the new members are. I mean, we're doing it right. It doesn't say what time in a meeting.
Yes, that's my reading of it too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to get into a little more of the meat. Lizzie and I, from this group here, Lizzie and I were the only ones, I think, who saw the branding presentation because it was shown at communications. And
before you get into that, Laura.
Sure.
I just wanted to add on to what you and Nancy said. No, the bylaws do not state at what point during the process, but past practice has been that they are installed as soon as the meeting starts, and then they once they're installed, they're seated, and then there's the election of officers. Now I went all the way back to 2012, I think it was, in 4 different elections, and that's the way it has been. But I don't see anything wrong with. It's just different from what we're used to have the election of officers at the end of the meeting. And I understand the point that Nancy was making and getting to know one another, but the installation should be at the very beginning, and the new board members need to be seated.
Correct. Right. So yeah, that I think is gonna, I feel like our done rep is showing up to this meeting and reading the oath out loud. So I think we're gonna just have to do that. And Dolores, is it before public comments? I mean, is it really the very first thing we do?
If my memory serves me correctly, once we opened up the meeting, that's what happened.
Very first, okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that's the way it happened.
Right.
That makes
Teresa?
sense.
Teresa?
Thank you, Laura. I happen to think it's kind of a good idea as a new board member. I know a few of the people who are here today, but there may be other people who would like to be on the executive committee. And I have no idea who they are or why they want to do it or what they're bringing to the table. So to get an opportunity to just to hear a little bit, even if it's a personal, not personal question, but something about their personality beforehand. And especially since we're not meeting in person where I could shake someone's hand and say, hey, how you doing? And chit chat with them. I like the idea of being able to, hear a little bit about them. Or if we know beforehand who's interested in being president or vice president or treasurer or whatever it is. So, and if they have if we, you guys send out something in the agenda packet, then at least I can read it beforehand and be able to make an informed vote. Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
true.
so, I mean, partly to address that, I mean, as Dolores would also say, if we're looking at how it's been in the past, I cannot remember a year where there was a contested election. We just always knew in advance who was going to be the officers. I have no idea. Nancy may have an idea if there's anything different this year.
Most times nobody wanted the job.
Yeah, no, I understand. And that cannot be what we're discussing now, frankly, because it's not on the agenda. I mean, there's a number of reasons to have concerns, but I think the only thing we can discuss in this context is it okay to have it toward the end of the meeting rather than at the beginning? We're approving the agenda, not who's running, how you handle the contest if there's a contest. I mean, just where should this sit on the agenda? And Greg, you had your hand up again.
Yeah, it's just to address Dolores' statement. So she is saying that item 4C should come like as soon as the meeting is called to order or right after meeting protocol. Is that?
For 4C probably needs to be right after the meeting protocols reminder because we're on Zoom, we have to do that.
Okay, so be item number 1, call to order, meeting protocol reminder, then 4C, installation of new members, and then we go on with public comments, retreat discussion, welcome, goals, etc. Right?
Yeah, I'm fooling around with this agenda as we speak in Microsoft Word. But yes, that would have to be, I think that's what it would have to be. But again,
okay,
I think we should do this one thing at a time. So the next question would be, is it okay to follow what has been proposed and have the election of officers at the end instead of the beginning? That would be the next thing we need to decide.
Then if we're going to do that, then item K should come after item L. I don't know, and I understand why K is before L, but if we want to get to know all the members and have them spotlighted, we need to hear from all of them before we do the election of board members.
Okay.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what, I lost that.
Item L is member spotlight number 4. And then item K is the actual election. And item J is member spotlight number 3. So I understand why.
Oh, right. If you're gonna do the member spotlights, it would have to be
Right.
before the election.
Right. So
Yes.
Yes,
we
got
probably need to do like
Yes.
G spotlight number 2, and then maybe do spotlight number 3 right after the bylaws,
Mm-hmm.
and then do spotlight number 4 after
Okay,
Robert's Rule
you
of
know why
Orders.
I'm losing track? Because I have already changed the letters and numbers because I took the,
Well, don't do that.
it's auto formatting
Well,
for
don't
me.
do that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Stop that.
So basically what you're saying is put member spotlight number 4. Where do you want another member
Take member
spotlight?
spot, if I may, member
Uh-huh.
spotlight number 2 is there. Then comes the bylaws.
Right,
Then after the bylaws, move member spotlight number 3.
got it.
Then comes
Okay.
Robert Rule of Order, and then move member spotlight number 4 after Robert's Rule of Order, and then do the election of officers.
Got it. I got it.
That's okay, Nancy and Paula?
Yes, that works. That makes sense.
Okay.
And okay, so I haven't changed the times on this yet, but let me just repost
Wait a minute.
so you
Then
can
the
look
oth-
at the order. I just want you to look at the order because I know the times will have to change.
I don't have times.
So this is what I now have. Can you guys see that?
The overall time, Greg, is for the meeting is number 4.
No. If you
Retreat
look at
discussion
number
and
3, 4, and 5, those times 3 and 4 have to
Oh.
change.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that. I haven't done that yet, but
Okay.
yeah, I understand that.
Are we meeting protocol installment members? Yeah.
And then I'm going down because we're not finished discussing this. I'm just saying this is where we are right now. So it's like every other, there's a thing, then a members spotlight. Should I put members with S's, not member?
That's fine. Laura, we had allotted 10 minutes to the installment of officers, just as an FYI in terms of our
Okay.
timing considerations.
Okay, so that would be. So
9:15.
Yeah, I got it. And then 9:15 to 9:20. And then this is 9:20.
Mhm.
Got that. Because really we don't need more than, if we're on time, if we have quorum, we don't need that whole time for call to order, approve agenda, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm going to change this to members.
Do you want to do that offline, Laura, and talk about the substantive comments?
Yeah, no, I'm done with that. So here's the substantive questions. Lizzie has prepared, but not, she's not presenting tonight. Oops, I'm just trying to stop the share. What am I trying to say? Lizzie, what have you done? The accomplishments, right? You're in review. There was Lizzie, myself, and no one else who's here tonight saw the branding presentation at the communications committee meeting, and the presentation itself, which wasn't quite concluded, was 18 minutes, and then the discussion was another 20, 25. So and Lizzie, did you want to launch in on this at all?
I'm a little concerned that it might take away a lot of time for an issue that we might not be even able to act upon. So that is my concern right now.
But
Lizzie,
I
what
think
were the comments around?
Hang on, I do want to say it was incredibly wonderful. Although afterwards, thinking about it, there were some tweaks that we would hope could happen. Anyway, Greg, you're muted. Greg, you're muted. And he's throwing the dog out of the room again.
Somebody else had a comment. I believe.
Sorry.
Yeah,
My-
Nancy.
Okay,
go ahead,
I'm back. So my two concerns, I'm just curious, is the branding presentation just a summary of the survey results so that we can know what we have done and accomplished?
There you go.
Sorry, what we have
Okay,
done.
there you go.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'll do better. I'll keep out of it next time.
But we're watching Greg TV. It's really fun.
I know, I'm sorry. Okay. So is the branding presentation a presentation of the survey results and the conversation, or is it talking about an action item? If it's an action item, that's something totally different. If it's like a presentation of this is how we feel, this is what we found, this is our part of our culture. But if
Right.
it's an action item, that's something that's
Mhm.
not necessarily a retreat type item.
Correct.
I think if I'm sorry, Lizzie,
I'm sorry.
Raheem was thinking that we would vote on the logo, that we want to go forward with our brand.
Yeah. So
Nancy, is that how you?
Yes, so I guess my question is more, I mean, I think there's the possibility of there being an action, but Lizzie, is that what was discussed at the communications meeting? Was it just like, were those 20 minutes just spent on commenting on the actual presentation and not even going into a discussion on any action?
What I can recall is that we spent a lot of time discussing the actual presentation, giving some feedback. And I remember maybe a member saying that it would be up to the board, but there was never an actual statement saying we want this to go for voting, that they would leave it up to the board. So that means that there would have to be some type of pre-discussion on whether this would be an action item at the retreat. And plus what we saw, the presentation was, yes, part of the presentation was the results, like the statistics on what some of the answers, the results of the surveys of the different questions that had been asked at the survey. And then there was an actual presentation of what the concept about the branding, the concept behind the branding. There was no visual presentation of the logo itself. That's when the presentation stops.
Okay.
Nobody has.
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so Lizzie, Raheem's not here. I think it's something that we'll have to ask him, but is your concern with respect to timing, are you okay just having the presentation, or is it just an item that should not even be part of the retreat?
I have no problem having the presentation, but I don't think it would be fair to have a, just the presentation and no discussion. I just don't know. At the retreat, maybe it can be presented as a preview of what the logo would be, but I'm just concerned about the time that it will take to discuss. I mean, the branding of the UNNC is a big issue.
Right.
So I wouldn't want it to be rushed by any means. I don't think it will be a good thing, not at all.
And Nancy, the other, I see Greg has his hand up, but the other issue is that presentation before it was presented was not provided in advance. It was not in an advance agenda packet, nor do we have it tonight. I mean, in other words, your Nancy's presentation isn't that we're not even going to vote on, but we could have wanted to vote on it. So it's in the, the public agenda packet. So we didn't see the logo. The presentation about the survey results was really, again, really excellent. It was intriguing. It's an internal document, but there's one other issue, and Lizzie, you're gonna make me bring it up, aren't you? But yes, the photos of the humans in it were not, it was not
Well, that is
It was not what?
diverse.
Oh,
so that is something that can be
Fixed.
again addressed later. It was at the time, you know, we gave some initial feedback, and
Right.
then you know, on second thoughts, then I realized okay,
Yeah.
so maybe diversity, the diversity of our community is a big thing, is an important issue, so much so that it is at the top of our mission statement. So I think we should match the content of our mission statement in those visual images. So, and I frankly did not see that, but it's not fair to say that now. I mean, it's something that we could address later.
Right. I see some couple other hands. I just want to say that it's a discussion we're having all over the city and all over the country. And the way it's been said the best is that whether you're talking about historic landmarks, branding presentations, who sits on a board, we want to see ourselves in the mirror. That's the phrase. See ourselves in the mirror. And I didn't notice it, actually. Somebody else brought it up to me that it wasn't diverse, and then I went back because I have that Zoom recording. It's like, oh, I hadn't noticed, but accurately it was not. Okay, Greg has had his hand up patiently, then Paula.
Okay, so my concern is just a general concern about the nature of a retreat, and so as it fits into this situation, I do see that in a retreat, having their survey results is good for the whole new members to see this is what we've done, this is who we are, this is how we feel. That's part of what I see as part of retreat. But if we're looking at taking an action item or voting on something, that's regular business. And I know it is important and it's something that we need to address. I just don't see that aspect of it, even though I know it's connected, is part of what a retreat should be, because the new members I feel like they're just learning how to vote. And so it's asking them to play on the field before they know the rules of the game. And the retreat should be get to know each other and learn the rules of the game before we actually vote, or they actually start voting on things. Okay? So that's my
Okay, Paula.
3 cents.
that was well said, Greg. So we can go back to Raheem. So you're not saying take it out. You're saying the presentation of the results are there, and then just leave it at that.
Right.
And voting or any further thing will be at a regular governing board meeting.
Yes. And also that might deal with the issue of the time that we seem to be that we're concerned about also. Because it's not. I support it. I'm just like timing and protocol with it.
That's a good point.
Question. I'm sorry, I had to take that phone call. What was the discussion about?
We're talking about the preview some of us have already had on the branding presentation, and how much should the whole thing be on the agenda? Should it stop at the end of the presentation and not move on to a logo or action item? I'm not saying enough, but we're talking about branding. There's been a survey. Yeah, and it's not Raheem, by the way, who made the presentation. It's Nikki's
Yeah,
the presentation.
yeah, he said it may be someone else.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Well, I don't know who's presenting it, but it was created by Mickey and with photographs from Joshua, our graphic designer and our photographer, and then
Laura-
incorporating some photos that already existed in our photo
Archive.
package, for lack of a better
Website from the website.
Laura,
Yeah.
it's 8:21, so I think,
Yeah.
do we just make a motion now to approve the agenda as you revised it, or what are the next steps?
Okay, well, the question is, now apparently the question is,
Oh,
on the item E, if I need to repost this, I can, where you have discussion and possible action, do we just take it back to just discussion?
Yes, that's my understanding.
yes.
Okay, so I'm going to hit save, reshare. Because,
And we didn't even
I'm
talk about the other.
yeah, I think I fixed all the other things. So this is,
I mean, but the action item for Jefferson Park.
oh, right, shoot. So we've taken away a long discussion, meaning branding action. Do we now have time to attempt to, I mean, we still have to be after the election of board members, but do we want to insert after election of board members, but before introductions to standing committees, funding request, NPG? And I mean, we're either going to get to it or we're not. I mean, Nancy, where are we on we have 15 people coming, right?
Yes, 15 people said they would come. So we are very close to.
So we could
13, which is a quorum.
lose quorum at any time. I mean, that's the other thing. We're going to have to watch that, because if we're only at member spotlight number 3, but we're about to lose quorum, we end up not having spotlight number 4, because we'll have to elect officers or just simply decide we can't. And I will say, for those who are parliamentarian oriented, and Dolores will remember this, we have not every single time actually elected the officers when we were supposed to, because we didn't have people to elect. And that specifically, Dolores, if you remember, July 2018, we did not vote. We were waiting for Denise to agree to be president, if you recall. So we voted in August or even September of that year, somehow. But the point is, do we add that to this agenda and hope for the best?
Well,
Okay. And Dolores. Dolores first. No, I'm sorry.
no, Greg,
NPG to the agenda.
Didn't Sandra say that she would move money around, that she would be okay with just meeting us in August the 5th? That she can still accomplish her tasks?
Yeah, but Dolores's point also was, we should do the best we can for the community and hope for the best. So the question becomes, is the best we can waiting till August 5, or do we throw it at the bottom of this agenda and hope we get to it, but we might not, but at least make the try? Dolores.
you could, I don't know where you maybe have cut down on what was I looking at? I think we passed it. Oh, cut down on the time for year in review and squeeze it in.
But Lizzie's worked so hard on that.
I was given 10 minutes with 5 minutes for questions. I mean, 10 minutes, including everything. So
Yeah. No,
Yeah, it's very tight.
a lot of accomplishments.
Yeah.
People, we had so many accomplishments. It's amazing.
So what I was going to suggest is that I like Nancy said, there's probably going to be questions, but we can keep it down to 1 for and 1 against. And so everybody will get an opportunity to say what they have to say and then cut it off.
1 for and 1 against what?
Whether we're going to approve the $500.
Oh, I understand, at the end. Right. No, I mean, I feel that we're either going to have time to do it or we will not, if I'm making sense here. But yes, you could keep it at that. That's an excellent idea. But where would we insert it?
It would have to be after the election of the, I would think it would have to be after the election of the officers.
Okay, I don't know if it's my speaker, but I'm having trouble hearing you, Greg.
It might be me because I had my thing.
He said after election of officers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I think too. Okay,
But-
like,
I just want to be, never mind. I will repeat my
You know, after
previous
we,
statement.
Yeah, I agree with you, Greg, too.
after Greg just went through new members just learning how to vote, now we're talking about vote.
Yeah, that's my, thank you. Thank you. So can I repeat a statement I made earlier? Sandra said that she could execute her activity and still meet with us on the 5th. So she knows that we're supporting her organization. So we have that relationship established and we will support this effort. She's not going to receive the money
okay, so,
any faster, maybe 2 days sooner, Vice doing it on the. So
Okay,
she's going to
so-
receive the money after the event.
And
So
the
I-
5th is just a week and a half after
Yeah, so
this.
yeah, so I don't think that I agree with Dolores. I just don't, I think the organization can execute their task. And we could do it on the 5th and still meet their needs and still execute this meeting properly.
okay,
Without-
so basically we have migrated to, I've already added it in, but we're migrating to not having L funding requests.
No, that's one person's statement. It's still, we're still in discussion
Well,
mode about it.
Well,
It's
can
two
we make a
people.
motion
Okay.
now? I mean, I think we've discussed this,
Thank you.
right? Like, I agree with Greg. Like, I move to approve the agenda and just take out L.
Okay. All right. Is that-
And I can't
You
say.
can't second. Sadly, only Greg, Laura, and Nancy can vote, but but Paula, since you're on the retreat committee, your opinion is what?
Everybody's opinions.
To move that to August the 5th,
Okay.
Jefferson Park.
And Greg, is that your opinion too?
Yeah, because
Then we
we're
don't
gonna-
need to actually vote on that because
Yeah,
it wasn't
'cause we
there
got-
in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think frankly, we're gonna need to be comfortable with the idea that we may or may not ever get to that introduction to UNNC standing committees either, sorry.
Madam
Because
President,
I
wanna
just-
make a
That's why
motion.
we put it at the end. That's why we
Yeah.
put it at the end.
I want to
Right,
make,
because I
Madam,
just have this horrid feeling that we're gonna lose quorum because that's what's been happening.
can we
of
call the
late.
question on this? Can we make a
Yeah,
motion on this?
so are we all good with this?
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented. Typed.
And is there a second from Nancy?
Yes, I second.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded. Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Oh, yes.
and Laura's a yes. Okay,
Good.
fine, it's all,
Yeah.
it is done. And the next item on the agenda is, sorry. Oh, governing board agenda items. So I already have 7 items for August 5. Do you want me to just run through them? And these are all real deal things that need to be there.
Please
Um,
tell us.
Laura, but wouldn't this
And add
need to be
Jefferson Park.
approved by the new executive committee?
No, this is on, okay, I'll say it again. I'll say it bluntly. No, all 7 of these items are on the agenda. There may be many other items on the agenda, and if the new executive committee wants to have 14 items, that's fine. But these are all items that have to be, and that's what I'm going to quickly run through. I mean, in other words, unfortunately, there are certain things that have real deadlines that are real, that we just have to do. So one of them, and this is not an order, this is just, I mean, this is not the order of the agenda, but these are all things that must be on the agenda. One is, as we got an email from Dunn, an agenda item to appoint board members to attend the 2021 Civic University for Neighborhood Councils that's scheduled on September 9, 23, and 30. And by the way, Paula wants to be appointed, so that's one. We need no later than no later than August 6th, so that's August 5 meeting. An updated UNNC support letter for the permanent slow streets. The city has requested it. Outreach committee has approved its actual mission statement. The Ann Zumwinkle contract. We have also a deadline on 4000 West Adams of August 6th for us to take our action. We have the updated letter of support for Truffle Brothers, Accio Salumerio, also on deadline, and this funding request. So all of those items, regardless of who's on executive committee, will need to be on the agenda. There may be other things on the agenda. And I don't know if anybody had any other, and approval of the MER from June. Is that right, Greg? Do I have the right month? So if you don't wish to vote on that, that's fine, but all of these are not really debatable items. There may be many other debatable items. The other thing that's August 5 is election of committee chairs and co-chairs. So anybody else have anything? Are we all muted? So, okay.
No. We'll do a,
No questions.
We do a reimbursement also, but that's just part of the treasury report.
There'll be a reimbursement, but that's automatic. But that's automatically.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
all of that's plus, obviously all the normal template things.
Yeah.
There will not be a CIS because there will not be a CIS committee meeting this month. So we have no proposed community impact statements. And beyond that, I don't know what else, but these are the items that will need to be on the agenda.
Can we ever have Mark Riley Thomas or his rep
I can't
show
hear
up?
you.
Can we ever have Mark Riley Thomas or his rep show up at our meetings? Can you hear me?
Well,
Yes.
invited all the time. And I do believe the second district supervisor rep wants to come to this meeting, but now I'm agreeing with Nancy, until we elect an executive committee, we should not be inviting speakers. You know, I mean, in other words, I don't think it's our place to approve that kind of stuff tonight.
How'd she get in? Or is it
It's a
What,
different door. She went around and made a
Oh,
circle.
no, the dog? No.
Put her out
she,
the one door and she came in the other.
No, she came in the store, same door. She's, yeah. This is my baby. Okay.
So,
All right, so we good? We good with this? We need to
yeah,
vote on
we
this.
are. I mean, you know, we're definitely done. I
But just
think
announcements,
I've
right?
made Nancy upset. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay, so what the next?
I'm washing dishes.
she's washing dishes. Life goes on.
Okay. What did you said to me earlier, Greg? The train must keep moving.
The trains must.
Yeah.
keep
So
moving.
you know, when we transition, we don't drop everything. The next item we can drop, however, review UNNC inventory report, discussion, possible action. But once again, I still haven't heard back from Dunn as to what to do about it. But just quick summary. We have lost a good deal of our inventory. That which had been stored at the firehouse has mostly been thrown away. And so the question, not by us, the question, I've already told Dunn about it, and they're trying to figure out what to make us do, if anything, which is probably nothing. But we don't need to do any voting because we don't have an inventory thing to vote on. And the next item is update to the board member handbook. So Greg, you did have something to share on that?
Sure.
Oh, I haven't made you, yes, I'm sorry. You are a co-host.
Okay, thank you. So let me find it first. Okay, let me get out this document and go into the training folder and then open this one.
Yeah, this item is the handbook.
Right. Okay, so my great team member, Mr. Lois, is working with me on updating this. And share screen. And where is it? Okay. So what we've done so far is we've looked at the current handbook and we're just checking the links and make sure that is correct. We're looking at the things that we want to keep in it. The welcome, we believe is fine. These links we checked out to make sure that they all are valid. We're looking at the table of contents. We're proposing that the articles of neighborhood council be taken out because that's a lot of pages that no one's ever going to read. The 7 things to know as an NC board member, there's a revised section with 10 things to know, but it's kind of like recaps the information that's already in the handbook itself, but it's very colorful to give a presentation. And Ms. Dolores, please chime in anytime. And then we go through there's extra pages put in the handbook, I guess for space holders. There's again, this is the different sections, the history of the neighborhood council. And then there's the maps that's there, which that's in the thing twice. We need to make sure that we have the most, because there's a big debate about what's the current version of the bylaw. So that
No, they're fixing them again. So you certainly don't have the most current because our most current is wrong, unfortunately.
You notice that draft revision. So we have that, but we still want people to know that we have bylaws, and this would be the one document that contains all of that. We put draft on that.
Nancy has her hand raised.
Yes, Nancy.
Laura, I was just going to ask you, are they going to have the bylaws by the retreat?
I keep asking because honestly, Nancy, you saw that I sent them the edited version because I have the software and said, just use this.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the problem is.
Okay.
And again, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, when our bylaws were redone in July, they were accurate, but it was an administrative redo because they had made some errors. And the city council voted some additional changes. So the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment went through all 99 neighborhood councils and inserted those new changes, but they didn't use our July 2020 bylaws as the template. They used a previous version. And as a result, they only gave us 4 executive officers instead of 5, but we've had 5 since the year 2014. So we have that page that lists our officers and their duties is missing a whole officer. And they've already sent an email to Nancy and me saying, yep, it's an error, we're gonna fix it, but I'm being told they just have so busy that haven't had the time to do it yet.
Okay. So if that comes before Friday or Saturday, then we'll add that to this. We will, whatever we approve for the standing rules, we will add that to this also. Whatever.
Well, are you intending now, given all of these we ran out of quorum on the new standing rules, we have the wrong bylaws, were you intending to distribute this for the retreat? Were you still intending to distribute it for the retreat?
The concept is, the short version is yes, and for maybe electronic version, so that people will know that we do have a handbook and that it is being we might say that it's being revised, but our thoughts are that this should be our master document that contains our standing rules, bylaws, etc. So we want to at least
Right.
introduce the concept and just say that it's being revised, but then, because we don't want to give them hard
Correct.
copy, this is draft. So we want to
Hey.
introduce the concept, but it's not on the agenda that we just approved.
Correct.
So no, I guess
Right.
not. But,
So, and Nancy had her hand up and Teresa has her hand up.
yes.
Yes, so something that I was already going to do was send not the handbook, but just a PDF of the bylaws and the standing rules. Since I'll be doing the presentation, I wanted them to have a copy of it. And it was the 2015 standing rules because we never were able to approve the revised standing rules.
Right. And okay.
But it's not
Nancy-
as comprehensive as the handbook.
Right.
Nancy, would you consider sending both versions of the standing rules, obviously properly identified, and
People.
the
to all of them?
bylaws with a note that, I mean, hopefully we'll have the update by the end of the week, but if we don't, bylaws with a note that all parties are aware we're missing an officer.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do it that way?
That's
Well, I
confusing.
wasn't thinking about including the revised version because we're not going to talk about it. I
Got it.
didn't put time into the retreat agenda that we would talk about the revisions we made. So I was just going to include the 2015,
That's fine.
and then I could add a note that, you know, our bylaws are being revised to include the signatory.
Okay.
Right.
So in this, I should put the 2015 version of the standing rules, or the 2015 version of the whatever
well-
Nancy sends out. That's what we will put in here.
Well,
I
what
mean, that's
Nancy is saying is
Okay.
she's presenting on the 2015, but the pieces that she is presenting on the 2015 are probably not changed, pretty much not changed.
I understood that, but I'm saying I just want us to be in sync with what we're presenting, and
Correct.
then if we're saying that okay, so the concept is that we want everyone to have the handbook. We know that it's still a let's call it a living document, but we need to let our people know that you have a handbook that should be your master document to go to for these items. And yeah, it is good. The handbook should compile all the stuff so that everyone knows to go to the handbook to find those items. Brown Act, like this section here, Brown Act Neighborhood Council, like Mr. Lewis found some additional virtual Brown Act things that we want to add into this, the links for that. So yeah,
Right.
we will add to this whatever version we're working on, but we don't want it to be contradicting. We don't want people to receive an email with this copy of the
Right,
standing
okay.
rules. So we just want to be in sync. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So,
Okay. Teresa has been patiently
sorry.
waiting.
Thank you, Laura and Greg and Nancy. I actually downloaded and printed off the standing committee rules. So I think it's a great idea if Nancy wants to present those, even though they say they're from 2015. If she says these are 2015, but we're going to be updating them. But I also looked at this document, and I think it'd be a little confusing to get this draft document and then say, oh, but there are going to be changes made to it, and we're going to give you a new one. If it could be summarized somehow, that'd be fine. But to have two, this is 116 pages, and I know there's some of those are blank pages, but I think that's a lot of reading for this temporary document. Better to just wait until it's finalized and then do the digital copy and possibly a hard copy too.
Right.
Right.
And,
Well-
and Laura, may I? So the concept is not to say, here it is, read it, but the concept is to say, this is under draft. And it's like more of an introduction, like we, you know, well, we're not presenting it. I don't think it's not on the agenda for the retreat, but it's to say this, you have a handbook and it is under revision and it is coming. So I don't expect people to read something that's a draft document. Only
Okay,
Dolores. I don't expect Dolores to read the draft document.
Okay, Greg, Teresa's still speaking, and let me just say Nancy still has her hand up, so I'm not sure if that's a new comment. Before you respond, nope, she hand down, but before you respond, let Teresa finish, please.
I kind of don't understand then why would you distribute that? I'm speaking as a new board member, Greg, so
Okay.
why would you distribute that to me to say, well, this is just to show you we have a handbook? Oh, you could just tell me you have a handbook. If you give me this document, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to read it.
Right.
Because I'm trying to be a good board member and I want to know what's going on.
Right.
And if the objective is just to say we have a handbook, then just say it, you know, or have a cover sheet, say we have a handbook, we're revising it, and we hope to have it out to you in, you know, a month.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, also the thing is it's on the agenda. Oh no, we could take an action. I'm sorry. I apologize. Also, we have it for a 5-minute discussion. So remember you guys made me put times on the agenda? Well, here you go. 5 minutes. I think we're up. Yeah, my concern, Greg, is that Donna is working on so many documents as well. The Brown Act is in the process of being revised at Sacramento. I mean, there's just so many things happening that need to get into this, and it should be a living document. I agree, but especially since our bylaws are in play, the standing rules are in play, that does kind of mean we should not necessarily be presenting a handbook. But I want to hear from Dolores because she's been doing a lot of the work on it. I mean, you know, people who do a lot of work don't want to be told no. Send it out.
I think that I agree with Teresa that giving our members the draft document and then having to turn around and give them another one might be confusing, but there's information in the handbook that they need to know, especially about the training. So we have to figure out some kind of way to let them know that the code of conduct, the ethics training, the financial training, that is a must do. So we don't have to give them the handbook. That we had in the handbook, there's a link to where you go to get that information. But I think it must, if we're not going to give them the handbook, we need to tell them that there's a handbook, that it's coming and is being revised, but there is some must-dos that we need to convey to our members, because some of the current members have been on the board for months and don't have all of their current information, current training. And I think that is an abomination, you ask me, but you know, it's just, I don't know.
Okay.
I was trying to be silent and let Greg talk.
No.
Don't do that.
I mean, Teresa's hand is up and Nancy's is back up. So
I just want to say that I have, as a new board member, I received the Cornerstone training from Gibson, and then also Greg sent out another notification. So people, I mean, I assume that he sent it out to all the new people, or maybe everybody, I don't know, but we've been notified that we have training that we have to complete.
Right.
And you know,
we also don't know, Teresa, how accurate the city's records are, because yeah. So I think I'm sending out I'll send out an email to everybody to ask the new people in particular to send us their certificates, because I feel it's not updated. So for our purposes, come Saturday, anyone who isn't totally up to date with training really can't vote. And we don't want that to be the case. We want everybody to be able to vote, which means they need to be up to date on their training. Nancy.
Okay.
And then Greg, Nancy's
Yeah.
up. and
Yes.
Greg.
No, Laura, I think you saw this in the presentation that I'm gonna do on the bylaws and standing rules. It's gonna highlight that they have to do the trainings.
Right. No,
So there will be a mention to it. I mean,
Right.
it needs to be revised, but
Right, because I had sent you an email because our standing rules say all three have to, including ethics, to vote on anything, not just funding. So, but I will say that we're solving problems one person at a time.
Yeah.
Meaning getting certificates in hand that aren't necessarily reflected online yet. So Greg, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I guess I understand the initial desire was to have the completed handbook by the retreat. That was the
Correct.
initial desire.
Right.
That is not going to happen. So
No.
Teresa, your common sense approach is well taken. So I appreciate that, and I agree with that, because I know I'm not going to read 3 or 4 documents, particularly if they're talking about the same thing. So I will propose that we do state that, as you stated, say there's a handbook. The handbook, maybe just go over the table of contents that's in it, so that this will be the master document. Stand by coming to a theater near you by 2025, something like that. So yeah. Okay, but we're still working on it. So
Right.
so that's that. So thank you guys. Thank you, team. Okay, am I
Okay.
up next with something else?
Yeah, so
Training.
I think the next item we digressed already is board member trainings and attendance review. So that's still you, Greg. You were gonna post
Okay,
something.
well, I could do a couple of things here. I could show you the training report, which we have just pointed out, it is not up to date,
Right.
because some people have completed and submitted, shown us their certificates. It's not reflected on that. We are making efforts to let people to say, do you need any help with training? Sometimes it may be, they're receiving the same information 2 or 3 times. We've also discovered that our list, our email contact list wasn't correct. So that's been revised. But we just want to make sure that everyone has every opportunity to complete their training. It's hopefully before Saturday, so that all board members can fully participate. Also, as Dolores said, that we will make a proposal to revise the training requirements for shortening the time frame. But I'm not sure when we will have opportunity to present that. Like, I guess when we're going over the bylaws.
Yeah.
Or because saying that someone has 6 months to complete their training is very generous, and they're on the board 4 months to 6 months and not being effective. So we have a proposal that we will present to the board on shortening the length of time for people to complete that training.
Dolores has her hand up.
Just a quick question for newly elected board members but have not been installed. Can you still take the training? It's been a
Yes.
while. I don't remember.
Yes, you can take the training. They should.
Dolores, did you not get an email from Dunn giving you
Nope.
new Cornerstone login credentials? Darn.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean, in other words, because what I see is they added you in, but they showed your prior training dates, which
Yeah.
are obviously all expired. But maybe they just assumed you've been sitting around all this time and that you weren't newly elected, so they didn't send you anything. Without wondering
call
why,
it abomination,
why
and
has
I'm
she
on
been
the abomination
expired for
list.
so long?
Well, with Dolores,
So
use that.
Greg, can you send her the? I mean, you sent out something.
Yes, she had. Yes, I can and I will, but she has it. I mean, those 3,000 emails that I kept sending out about it. Do you have one of those, Dolores? I think I sent some out yesterday.
Yeah, but Dolores
It
won't.
applied to me because I wasn't on the board yet.
Right. Yeah, Greg, Dolores doesn't have a missing password because she left the board before they invented Cornerstone.
Right, but
They have to give her a new password.
right, but yes, short version, yes, I will assist.
Oh, okay, then there's no point in me looking for it then.
Well, you can still look for it, but I will assist.
Well,
We'll talk tomorrow. We're on it tomorrow. We get on it
Okay,
tomorrow.
All right.
Right.
That's enough said. We got it. We'll work on it tomorrow.
Yeah. Can
Right.
we move on?
Yes.
Yes, we're trying to move on. Okay. Okay, our committee reports well, actually, I'm sorry, Greg, we don't really have anything about attendance or Nancy to discuss, right? I mean, all the board members lately have shown up every once in a while, but I think we're going to need to have a serious discussion soonish about attendance because we've been very lax with Zoom, but now that we're all good at it, I think we have to be a little less lax with attendance. But of late, every single board member has shown up at least once to a board meeting. So yes, Greg.
So on that topic, one of the things that I will bring up for the new board.
The next executive committee.
That we review
Yeah.
the attendance requirements.
That's what I'm saying. Projecting forward
And who does that?
next month in
Who keeps
August,
attendance?
third
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes. So not for the retreat, but in August.
Yeah, not at the retreat. Yes.
Right.
Anyway, are there any committee chair reports? I don't think so. And no minutes, sadly. So last but not least, treasurer's report.
Okay, you want to do show and tell? Or
Nah, because the MER we can just do at the board meeting, right?
Yeah, we have it. We have an MER. I have the screenshot of what we spent, what's pending from June. And then we have our 32K for this year. So yeah, that's it. So MER, and then what was spent and what's pending from June and what we have for the month.
So the question is, does anybody here want to see either the monthly expenditure report or the snapshot online that shows 32,000 available and $0 spent?
It's not here to me.
Anybody?
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah, sweet. Because we could do it. Oh, you're showing us anyway. Okay.
Well, no, you keep talking. I'll stop sharing after a while. So.
No, it's okay. It's real.
They said they didn't want it.
There it is. 32 and 0.
That's the money for the year. Let me go back.
If you didn't share, we could end at 9 as
bye. Okay, bye. Thank you. I stand corrected.
As posted.
As is posted on the agenda. That is right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll stop.
So I have been asked a question that's more forward projecting. You know, in our standing rules, it says that in August, every August, we elect committee chairs, and we've lately gone with committee chairs and co-chairs. We like to have 2-person teams at least, occasionally 3, but that we elect them at our August meeting, and that they must be elected by 2/3 vote of board members present. Which I never noticed, but I've also never seen since we're doing chairs, co-chairs, and even sometimes co-co-chairs, there's would be no reason why we'd have competition to become the committee chair. So that's at the August meeting. And one of the things we're trying to change in the standing rules is, we won't change it by the August meeting, I don't think. The current standing rules lists very, very specific standing committees. And one of the big changes we were proposing is only listing the ones that have to happen, which are executive outreach and planning and zoning. And then the others, it was going to be a more flexible. So, because there's many committees that we haven't had anyone in charge of for years, but they're listed in the standing rules. So we're trying to be practical. And then we have other committees that aren't listed. But I don't think that's going to be resolved by August 5th. So we'll probably just do what we've been doing year after year after year, seeing who wants to chair a committee, and hearing nothing for one, it won't happen. Hopefully that won't be very many. We have currently 10 standing committees, I believe. So it's a good thing. Anything else? No old business. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go, right?
Yes.
9:01. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. And Teresa, I'll email you that,
Denise.
see if you guys can open it.
Good night.
Right.
Shalom.
night.
Night.
Night, everybody.
Night.